Let's talk a little bit about insecurity. Why insecurity of all things? Well, I looked at the inspiration tab on my YouTube creator channel, and it suggested that I talk about turning insecurities into opportunities for growth. Okay, but I think uh, the things that you are insecure about generally tend to be areas where you lack skill, right? But there's an exception to this. If you're insecure about something, it doesn't really matter what kind of a skill level you have. When someone criticizes you, when someone leaves you open to like a vulnerable position, then you overreact because you are insecure about something. So I think overcoming those things requires something a little bit deeper than a simple YouTube video can. So for the purposes of giving you something more simple so you can start entertaining this in your mind and ask more specific questions, I think a good opener to the topic of insecurity is exploring the conditions for insecurity. So what does insecurity require in order for you to feel insecure about something? I think there has to be two primary conditions. The first condition is that there has to be some sort of a hierarchy that goes like that can score you from good to bad, right? So the thing is, everything has a certain kind of a scoring system. But the thing is, does it matter all the time? Not really. So a good example of this is, okay, suppose you're at school and you get graded by your grades and you get ranked by your grades. So in that case, the ranking kind of matters because you may be wanting and the grades may be scored relatively and you really want an A in this class or whatever, right? These things can happen. So in this case, the hierarchy matters. But suppose I'm gonna pretend you're not Korean as you're watching this, but Koreans are very passionate about food, right? So, this person's kimchi is missing this ingredient, and like it's not fermented enough, or like the seasoning doesn't have enough fish sauce, or blah blah blah. So there's all these abstract hierarchies about kimchi that Korean people love to talk about. But to a foreigner's perspective, it's like it's fucking kimchi, right? So the hierarchy, there needs to be a hierarchy, and that hierarchy needs to matter to you in order for you to at least consider some, insecurity. And the second kind of requirement for insecurity is that hierarchy needs to relate to how you value yourself. So a great example of this was the grades, right? Oh, I got a bad grade. Oh, I got a good grade. But what does it mean to me that I get good grades? It must mean I'm smart. Because I am smart, it must mean I'm a highly, rated person. I must be a good person and things like that. So when the external value system becomes an internal value system, that's when the insecurity starts to creep in. Because there may be difference in their rankings, but if somebody grades you wrong about something you don't care about, so suppose I made you take a random quiz about Buddhism, and oh, you scored 30% of that. Who the fuck cares? But suppose you took like a IQ test or whatever, and then somebody misgraded it, and you're like, oh, you only have 2-digit IQ. Then you're like, no, I don't. Why? Because that means I'm a dum dum, right? And that's not good for me. So, because the perspective of how you are seen by other people depends on things outside of yourself, that's when the insecurity creeps in, right? So, to sum up, the two kind of requirements for insecurity are the existence of a hierarchy or a ranking system, and you participating in that hierarchy system to rank your value as a person and a human being instead of looking at the ranking as just a ranking of something, right? So, with these two things in mind, you can start exploring when you are insecure about a certain topic, when you are insecure about a certain area of your life. How come? Because now you know what standard is making you equate your value to